Everyday courage comes from pushing just 5% beyond our comfort zone consistently. And that courage leads you to actually, do a lot more than somebody who may just in one foul swoop push way beyond their comfort zone at one time and overwhelm themselves or burn out. So aim to just push 5% beyond your comfort zone at a time. And that's where courage lies. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Flow Over Fear podcast, where it is our mission to help you to rise above fear and realize your ultimate potential in leadership and life. I'm your host, Adam Hill, and it is my goal to share with you the human side of high performance. My guests share their experience with fear, anxiety, struggle, challenge, and most importantly, despite all of it, how they rose above it to achieve incredible results. So, if you're ready to rise up, let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to Flow Over Fear. And today I want to ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you're stuck? And here's what I mean by that. I mean, do you feel like you just have this vision of the future that just isn't clear, that you're not making much headway, that you're just spinning your wheels, that you're in a place where you don't want to be, but you just don't know how to get out? I know I felt that way in the past, and today I want to share with you 3 ways in which you can start to get unstuck and start to move in the direction of your dreams. I know that in my past, and if you're anything like me, sometimes the problems that we face are that we get stuck in a rut. It's not a permanent thing, and it happens frequently. It happens on occasion throughout our lives, where we just start to pursue something, we make a lot of progress, and then we get to that point of plateau where it's just, we're in a rut, we just don't have a lot of direction or where we go from there. Maybe you've just achieved something that you've wanted to achieve, and you don't know what's next. How do you know where to go from here, and how to keep growing? Because part of the fulfillment of life is continuous growth, continuous improvement. So if we're not improving, if we're not growing, the old saying that if you're not growing, you're dying. Well, a lot of that is true. A lot of times when we're not growing, when we're not pursuing something that's helping us to improve or push beyond our limitations or push beyond our fears or what have you, we just feel that sense that we're lost, that we have this loss of sense of direction. Now, this happened to me. I talk a lot about achieving the goals that we want to achieve, and I achieved a big goal that I wanted to achieve a few times in my life. I qualified for the Ironman World Championship. I did the race, and after I crossed the finish line, it was all great, and that was a great feeling. And then it was kind of like, well, what's next? I didn't know. I had this feeling, a sense of for a while. It was like, for a while it was great. I'll say that. Like after finishing that race, I felt like, that the accomplishment stuck with me and I was really proud of it. And I felt good not having to do 20 hours of workouts per week. That was a great thing for a while. But, after a while it just said like, I feel like I'm kind of just spinning my wheels, like I'm not moving forward. And, that leads to, and you might be able to relate to it, it leads to you feeling a little bit lost, or a little bit alone, or like you're missing something in your life, like something's missing. Have you ever felt that, like where that there's something missing, you just don't know what it is? Oh, that's certainly how I felt during that time. The thrill of crossing a finish line, whatever that may be, whether it be in business, fitness, relationships, whatever it may be, the thrill lasts for an instant. It really, really is. I know it's so cliche to say that the joy is in the journey. It really is. Because in the journey, that's where we're experiencing the growth. In the journey, that's where we're experiencing the fulfillment of continuous improvement. But once we finish, there's a sense of immediate elation, of joy, of excitement. You put your arms up because you've crossed this finish line. But then it's, well, now what? Where do I go from here? That's why it's really, really, really important that when you're approaching any kinds of achievement, that, of course you're setting your goals high, But as you continue to reevaluate, and you should reevaluate frequently, at least every quarter, that you look forward and you say, is my goal big enough? And should I look at something bigger? Or once you finish that, you should have something on the back burner that maybe you want to pursue next time. Is it a bucket list? Is it something like that? Because once you get to that point where you've achieved the things that you want to achieve, and there's really, there's really no other sense of direction that you might have, yeah, you can start to feel lost, and you could start to feel like you don't have that sense of direction. So I want to share with you little ways that, and I mean, the good news is that if you're feeling that, sometimes you can get into it. It's absolutely normal to feel that way, and it's okay to feel that way. And the other part of it is not just if you've had those achievements, but if you're in an environment that you just don't want to be in, and you're not comfortable, and you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, and you want to change that direction and move in a new direction. That's the other thing. But the good news is that there are ways to get out of that rut, and it just requires that you do a little investigation, you do a little soul searching, internal, look inside and find find what you need to get there. And I want to share with you 3 ways in which you can do that, 3 powerful tools that you could use to get to that point. And the first thing I will say is the first way that you can start to get unstuck from where you're at now is with conviction. And conviction is one of my favorite words, and it's really the idea of what I want to help people to achieve. Because when we're living in the midst of fear, and we're fighting fear, or we're running from fear, and we're feeling that fear, and it's not comfortable for us, a lot of times what we're lacking is conviction. And conviction's a beautiful word, because really what it means is this unwavering faith, this unwavering belief in something with a commitment to pursue it, and a commitment to go after it. And that's why I love it so much, is because we talk about, when we talk about faith, or when we talk about belief, it's one thing to have faith and just sit there having faith that everything's going to be all right, and everything, or that faith that this is the path, or faith that you or a belief in this or that, but without any action toward it, without any commitment to pursue it, then it's lost. It's frustration. That's what that becomes. Faith without action is frustration. And so the word conviction is beautiful, because it really is an unwavering faith, or an unwavering belief in something with a commitment. And so you want to get convicted in something to go after. How do you do that? Well, with regard to finding your dream, or finding what you want to achieve, you have to look at it from the perspective of, look at what your core values say. What are your core values? And that's a great place to start, because if you can look into your core values, you know that you know that those are essentially the boundaries on which you want to keep that goal that you want to set. Another great way to gain conviction, or to figure out what that path is through service. We've heard a lot of people talk on this show, and future guests will talk about this, that service is a way to build that, to create happiness, and to create self-worth, and to create a means forward, and to actually find that purpose that you might have. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling uncertain, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling that fear, get into service. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. I mean, you can look around your house, or your job, or your neighborhood, or your community. Find a place to serve. Because when you get into service, you start to open up your mind into what is possible, and it will start to bring you more conviction, because your mind will be open to it. And then once you're aligned with your core values, and you start to be in a little bit more of service, you could start to create some meaning to whatever it is you want to pursue, and that will give you that conviction. So conviction, unwavering faith, and commitment to pursue something, and it might just be to start that you have an unwavering faith and commitment in being of service to someone else. And then the second thing I want to share with you, the second way to get unstuck, is to get clarity, is to be really, really absolutely clear on that, on what your purpose is. And I've talked in the past about a prioritization funnel, and that first very thing on the top, if you've ever wanted to achieve something, is to put that big clear dream at the top of it, and make that abundantly clear. Now, for me in the past, I've had a few of those. I've had a few of those goals early on in my life when I was playing music. My goal, my big, hairy, audacious goal, my dream was to get into college with a music scholarship, and that was what I was working toward. That was what it was at the top of that prioritization funnel. And so once I worked my way down and I rattled that funnel a little bit and worked it down into what were the very next steps, I made sure that every step on the way to that goal was smart. It was specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Oh my gosh, I just spelled that right for the first time. I know in previous episodes I spell it wrong. So I got it right. So, practice makes perfect. And anyway, so clarity is that second way in which you can start to get unstuck. And if you're really, really clear on your goals and your dreams, and they're aligned with your core values, and you have a deep and a personal meaning behind them, then that's a powerful way to do it. And I talk about this in the past too, that one way you can find that idea, that thing that really lights you up, is to put yourself into an environment that opens your mind to new ideas, to things that you dream. You have your dreams. Your dreams are in here. They're in your heart. Your dreams are in your heart. It's just getting them out is hard because it's blocked so often by what's in our brain. Our brain is moving in so many different miles a minute, and it's confounding everything with all of these negative thoughts or should haves and all of this other stuff, that it blocks what's in our heart. So if you could put yourself in an environment where your heart is open, where you can open up your mind or open up your heart to open those ideas into your mind, then that's where the oh shit factor occurs. It could happen when you're in the shower with just that white noise. It could happen when you're out in nature. But give yourself those clarity breaks. Give yourself that time to open your mind so that you're not working, that you're not worrying, that you're not doing that. Sit in meditation and know that it's not going to happen right away. But just put yourself in the environment where your heart can open up and get into your brain so that what pops up is that oh shit factor. Oh shit factor is the equal measure of excitement and fear popping up at the same time. Because when that happens, your mouth just suddenly verbalizes, oh shit, I just came up with an idea and there's something to it. That is your heart and your brain simultaneously saying, Eureka, and nope. You want to listen to that. That is your signal. And when you find that, when you have that oh shit moment, you can put clarity behind it by adding a meaning behind that idea, by adding a very deep and personal meaning behind that idea and aligning it with your core and making sure that it's aligned with your core values and being specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound behind whatever that goal is. So look for that and build clarity behind it. And the final thing that I want to share with you to get unstuck is to get courage. Now, courage is obviously, that's always a hard one. That's sometimes a hard one for people because when we're afraid, it's hard to be courageous. We get stuck in our own fear. We get stuck fighting it. And that's the interesting thing. It takes so much energy to fight fear, but we do it. We keep doing it because our egos drag us in that direction. And we push ourselves and we think that courage, we think that getting above fear, we have to do something extreme or we have to push way, way beyond our comfort zone in order to get that courage. But that's not the case. When I say get courage, I don't mean push 100% beyond your comfort zone. You don't need to be like David Goggins. I know I pick on him a lot, but it's relevant because when we're pushing to like just say, hey, you gotta do it despite the fear. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that we have to, as my coach would say, as my personal business coach, Kirk Wayman would say, we have to dance with fear. And that requires that we lead the dance, but we also recognize that the fear is dancing with us. So the way I get around that is I have something called the 5% rule. And it's part of the 80%, 5% rule that I have. And that 80% represents obviously the intensity that we want to pursue any goal, but that 5% is the important part in this context, because 5% is the amount beyond our comfort zone that we want to push anytime we pursue something. So courage in this case is not taking a massive leap beyond your comfort zone, but really looking at how we can just push 5% beyond our comfort zone. That's where courage is. Everyday courage comes from pushing just 5% beyond our comfort zone consistently. Because I'll tell you that pushing 5% beyond your comfort zone consistently will lead you to achieve incredible, amazing, adventurous results in whatever you are after, whatever you want to pursue. And that courage leads you to actually do a lot more than somebody who may just in one foul swoop push way beyond their comfort zone at one time and overwhelm themselves or burn out. So aim to just push 5% beyond your comfort zone at a time. And that's where courage lies. That's where you start to expand your comfort zone. That's where adventure lives. That's where growth lives. And when you're growing, you're getting that fulfillment. When you're growing, you're actually getting that clarity. And that clarity is becoming more convicted. And so those three things come together and they form this beautiful cycle for you. So if you can do these three things, if you're stuck in a rut, if you're feeling like you don't have a sense of direction at this point, or you've just achieved something and you're wondering what's next, then these three things, finding conviction, getting clarity, and getting courage, will help you to get unstuck and become unstoppable. Thanks for joining me today. Look forward to seeing you next time. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Flow Over Fear podcast. If you'd like to learn more about getting into flow and learn the foundations of flow, I have a free video series on my website at www.adamcliffordhill.com called The Foundations of Flow. Feel free to go there and download it and start your journey to rising above fear and achieving greater flow in your life. And if you like this episode, and I'm guessing you did if you stuck around for this long, then please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, and you will receive notifications when I have new interviews, new recaps, and new trainings that pop up on YouTube. Thanks again for joining us.